Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, then welcome and thanks for stopping by. My name is Lori Livers. On this channel, we talk about how I have created passive income for myself and my family through rental properties. We talk about DIY home improvement, and we talk about everything planning and organizing, because in my mind, that's what makes all the rest of this stuff possible. I hope all this stuff sounds interesting to you. It's really exciting for me. So I would hope you would want to hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell and come along with me as I show you how I've made all this work for me. My last video was an overview of the BRRRR strategy that I use to invest and grow my rental portfolio. Today's video is all about the B in BRRRR. It's all about the buy, how to buy a rental property. So the first thing you need to do, if you're not going to use your own money to purchase a rental property, is to get pre-qualified with a mortgage lender. I was looking for a conventional mortgage lender that already had a great relationship with a hard money lender, so that the two could work hand in hand and make that process as seamless as possible for me. I was very fortunate to be able to find several companies just like this in my area, and from what I understand, they exist everywhere. So a little bit of time on Google and a little bit of time on the phone, you should be able to find that right lender for you. The second thing you need to do before you even consider buying a rental property is figuring out, what is your priority? What are you getting into this for? What do you want out of it? I am a huge believer of begin with the end in mind. It is what helps us clarify what are we going to do every day that gets us to live that life we want to lead. And I have finally had a lot of that come together for me because I've really spent some time trying to figure out, what does that mean to me? Begin with the end in mind. So for me, the top priority in my rental portfolio is cash flow. That's the most important thing to me. And my minimum standard on a property at this time is $400 a month. If a property can't produce at least $400 a month for me on a regular, ongoing, month after month basis, then I'm simply not interested. So a question I get a lot about purchasing rental properties is, how do you find the houses? And it is by far the most challenging part. I spend the most time in this whole deal looking for houses. I'm not always looking for a house, but I would say every 10 to 12 weeks I'm looking for a house, and it takes me sometimes a week or two to find a property. I get lists of properties from an agent that I love working with, and she has found me some great properties that I have been very successful with. I get notifications from my local MLS system. I have a consumer search set up through my local MLS account that notifies me of any properties that come on the market that fit the parameters that I'm looking for. Most of the time, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage house that was built anywhere between 1970 and 1985-ish, maybe the late 80s. And I'm looking for something that's right between maybe 1,500, 1,800 square feet. Those properties have proven to be the most successful in my portfolio, and so I'd like to find more of them. When properties that fit that type of parameter come online and come available for sale, I'm automatically notified from my MLS system. Another place that I have been really successful in getting properties from is through some local wholesalers. Real estate wholesalers really work really hard to canvas an area and find the properties that are the best fit for investors such as myself. And then they share that list of properties with us. That's how they make their living, is helping us find those properties. So I really appreciate all the work the wholesalers do. Once I have my list of properties that I'm going to consider, I just sit down at my computer with a cup of coffee, and the first thing I do is map them out right on Google Maps and find my travel time. If a property is not within a 30-minute travel time of my home, I'm simply not interested, because I do still self-manage all my own property. As my portfolio grows, I fully intend to step away from the self-management strategy and employ a property manager. At that time, the location of the property won't be as important as it is to me today, but for now, I do self-manage, so it's got to be within 30 minutes travel time of my home, because the whole reason I did this is so that I can set my own schedule and do what I want to do from day to day and not what I thought I had to do. So it's got to be close by. It's got to work for me. The second thing I'm looking at is the numbers. If a property doesn't produce at least $400 a month, or if I don't see the potential to produce at least $400 a month in cash flow, then I'm simply not interested. It's not worth my time and effort to go through the process of purchasing, rehabbing a property if I'm not going to get that minimum amount of money out of it. In my experience, I have always been able to get more than that $400 a month out of it. Most of my properties now are bringing anywhere between $500 and $600 per month in clear cash flow. That is absolutely more ideal, but I try to be open-minded. I think in a lot of ways you can really affect that number, and $400 has been my basement number. There are a lot of tools available to investors. Some are paid tools and some are free tools that you can use to determine what the cash flow would be for you on a property. I'll show you one that I use from time to time. The BRRRR calculator I'm using today is from investformore.com. I've done my homework, so I know what my numbers are on the house I'm considering buying. I know what the interest rate should be because I'm pre-qualified. I know what budget of repairs makes sense for a house in this area in order to get the ARV I'm looking for. I know what my ARV is, and I know what my monthly rent should be. I've gathered that information from running comps on other homes in the area. I've got another video coming on how to run comps and get these numbers. So you can see this property should produce the minimum threshold of $400 or more per month. So once I've narrowed down my list of potential properties to those that are within my travel time and meet my baseline number of $400 per month in cash flow, I will go drive by the properties. At this point, I probably only have 2 or 3 to drive by, but I will just set some time out of my schedule and get in my car and go drive through the neighborhood. See what I can see. If it's a neighborhood that I feel like I can find a pool of potential tenants that might want to live here in this neighborhood, then I will reach out to either the wholesaler or the agent to arrange a time to walk the property. And by walk the property, that means get inside of it, check it all out. Now, when I go into a property, I only have 2 immediate deal breakers. My first immediate deal breaker is if the rehab needs of the property just way exceed the rehab budget that makes sense for me. Sometimes that's a hole in a roof, something like this, and sometimes a hole in the roof is not a scary thing. Sometimes it's something that wouldn't scare me away from the property. But in this instance, this particular property that I've got these pictures up on, it was a deal breaker for me. I feel like this property is going to need way more money in rehab to make it comfortably, safely livable than makes sense for my budget. It makes sense for my strategy. The other and most important immediate deal breaker for me is if someone is living in the home that is not the person selling the home. I'm not going to buy a house that comes with people. I know a lot of investors don't let this be a deal breaker for them. They are well versed and well practiced in handling the situation. I feel like these situations can be extremely delicate, and I'm still a person at the end of the day, and I don't want to get into that. That's just not something I'm comfortable dealing with at this time in my career. So if it's got people living in it that are not selling the property, then that's an immediate deal breaker for me. If I don't see either of those deal breakers, and from looking around the property and really taking some time to really take a good hard look at a property, if I feel like my rehab budget makes sense to bring this property to a point where it can be safely and comfortably lived in, then I'm ready to make an offer on the house. So that's what I do next. I make an offer on the house. I'm not going to get into a bidding war. I'm not emotional about it. I don't have to win. It either makes sense and it comes together, or it doesn't. If your offer is accepted, everything comes together and you've just bought a house. So the first thing I do after buying a house and going under contract is ordering an inspection. And then I start meeting with general contractors to start going over the rehab, start getting bids on that process. The next video is all about the rehab process. And that is absolutely my most favorite part of this entire process. I really enjoy the rehab process, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with all of y'all. I hope you're looking forward to see it. Be sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll know when the videos come your way. And I look forward to hanging out with y'all more in the future. Bye, y'all.